3, 2, 1.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Hello to those of you who are feeling called to this reading in particular, mystery reading at number 1185. My name is Elizabeth, and before getting into this reading, if you are a recurring viewer, you enjoy my work, and you would like to help support it, feel free to do so by sticking around and hitting that subscribe button down below and ringing the notification bell next to it if you feel called to. And if you do feel called to subscribe and stick around, welcome. And thank you very much for your support in helping me reach 300 subscribers at this time, as well as your presence during this reading. So getting straight into interpreting the number 1185 itself. For some reason I'm feeling distracted by the next reading that I plan to record after this, 1186, so maybe that will be significant for you. But there are two ones here in the number 1185. If you've been around for a hot minute, you know that number one to me is about having trust and faith. This could be about grounding yourself to find clarity. It could be about having trust and faith in yourself, what you're capable of, the universe, what's possible for you, another person, another situation. One way or another, your intuition may be guiding you somewhere. You may be feeling called to use your strength as well. This is a fairly decent message here since there are two ones. The number 8 is about loss and trusting that whatever is lost will be replaced. And interestingly, when I started talking about the number 8, I looked down at the timer and I saw the number 234, which is about trusting that everything happens for a reason. So there is someone or something that you have lost, are losing, or will lose. And I feel that it is important for you to trust that everything happens for a reason, that the loss, the change is happening for a reason, and it has meaning. And I'm feeling connected to the Italian word ₦ï, which means the meaning in Italian. So I feel that past loved ones, whether you knew them in this life or not, as I usually say, are really highlighting the significance of some sort of loss or change that you've already been through, that you're going through right now, or that you will go through in the future. There is deeper spiritual meaning. There could be more practical, logical reason, but there's spiritual meaning too. And I feel that the only way you're really going to understand that is by trusting your intuition. Whatever that reason is. Paying attention to the signs, the messages, synchronicities, the readings that resonate for you. Sometimes it's just about trust and faith and allowing yourself to not feel like you have to know everything to know you're going in the right direction. The message to have trust and faith in yourself feels particularly strong here when it comes to understanding the deeper meaning behind some sort of uncomfortable change, or loss, or sacrifice from the past, the present, or the future. And it could be, more than one point in time, too. This could just be a very general message to find the deeper meaning in pain and suffering and change. Moving on to the number 5. This number is about change, transformation, some sort of transition. You might be hearing a baby cry in the background. And as soon as I said that, I saw the number 543 on the timer. Another sign to trust that everything happens for a reason. Whenever a baby cries in the background, I just saw the number 555 on the timer. To me, that is part of the reading as a sign or a signal connected to childhood or children in your life and the impact that you have on them. Maybe there's something here that you went through as a child that is important for you to reflect on and heal from and grow from, practically and spiritually. Or maybe you feel called to be a role model in some way, being mindful of the fact that there are little people looking up to you, trying to figure out how they should live, how they should move, whether they should lead with love or lead with hate. So it's important to have a loving relationship with yourself, not a hateful one, not a resentful one. I can see how the next reading might be significant for you if you're really resonating with the idea of self-love and self-care and trying to free yourself from, just in some way, from a certain situation, a certain relationship, a certain way of thinking, just the idea of freedom in general, and that what's going to free you is self-love. But it does feel like the number 5 here, especially with seeing 555 on the timer, there really is a significant change here that I feel that even your ancestors really want you to heal from, not only because you deserve peace, but you also deserve to see the spiritual significance. And if you're holding on to the pain, you're not getting the clarity that you need. You know what I mean? Like, it could be clouding your judgment or robbing you of the opportunity to connect more with your faith, really. Whether that's about having faith in yourself, your environment, or something more spiritual, like God or the universe or some other higher power. It could be more than one thing. Maybe there's a general need here to learn how to have more faith, more hope, so you don't trap yourself in the idea that things can't get better. I think that's the worst trap as possible. Of course, within the bounds of reality. But anything's possible. If you have a dream, even if it doesn't work out, I personally would rather have tried and known that it wasn't going to work out than not try and not know. And have regret. I personally don't believe in having regret. Some people do, though. So I just wanted to acknowledge that for those of you who may be feeling regretful about the past, whether it's more recent or more distant. I personally think that there is no need for regret because you can't change the past. Isn't that what regret is about? Wanting, like, if you had the opportunity, you'd go back and do things differently. But you can't do things differently. Not in the past, anyway. But right now and in the future, you can. That's why it's important to stay present. Because honestly, the future is created right now. What you do right now defines where you end up in the future. But adding up these numbers, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10, and 10 plus 5 is 15. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I do have a couple of messages for the number 15 here. And the first one has to do with the Devil card in Tarot. Immediately connects to the idea of freedom that I was talking about, feeling bound or trapped or chained down in some way and feeling like a slave to your own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, the situation, your own desires. Feels like there's a real need here to free yourself from something, and it's going to take self-love to do that. 1 + 5 is 6, which I do perceive as being about self-love and freeing yourself from self-hate and contributing to a greater fight, honestly. Having more love for yourself so you can spread more love into the world instead of, hating yourself and spreading more hate into the world. And it's not just about hate. It doesn't have to have a direct impact either. Imagine you have a day where you're just feeling resentful about something going on in your life, and you're beating yourself up about it, and you take that frustration out on somebody else, and then that somebody else feels frustrated as well, and they take that out on somebody else, Negativity can spread just as much as positivity can. I did see the number 111 on the timer, which is reinforcing the messages about having trust and having faith. Overall, the number 1185 has really encouraged you to have trust, have faith, and find deeper meaning in the loss, the sacrifice, the pain, the suffering. There's so much wisdom in pain and suffering, in my opinion and in my experience. And I feel like that's all I can really do right here. It's just encourage you to find deeper meaning. And it's kind of hard to get specific when I don't fully understand why there's some resistance or stubbornness. So nobody can understand you better than yourself. So if you are feeling resistance or stubbornness, try to understand that side of yourself and work with or compromise with that side of yourself. Oh, and maybe that side of yourself needs a little validation too. Sometimes, it's okay to feel heaviness, upset, regret, frustration, just darker, heavier emotions. Just don't let them control you and define who you are and where you're going in life. So while I was being silent, I did see the number 321 on the timer, which is about trusting that everything happens for a reason again. And I am feeling connected to the song Silent Night. I think I have felt connected to that song before in a previous reading. Not 100% sure why, but we may take that if it resonates. Moving on to these cards on the table here. Here we have Secrets of Tarot cards, a deck of cards that I just made and wrote on with things that I felt called to write. And the same thing over here with these index cards. Just wrote whatever I felt called to write on them. I'm going to start with drawing out one of these tarot cards for you to get more detail and context about the messages that you need. We have Judgment, and as soon as I looked at the camera to show you this card, I saw 432 on the timer. Again, trust that everything happens for a reason. I wrote on this card decisions, balance, partner. The artist of this deck wrote decisions pending finality, the only decision that can be made under the circumstances. The Judgment card itself is pretty self-explanatory. at least in the context of this reading, it's about your judgment, how clearly you are seeing things. I just really encourage you to not underestimate the power of your own mind, especially when it comes to carrying pain, and how much of an effect it can really have on your judgment and ultimately your decisions and where you end up in your life, who you surround yourself with. I can think of two major reasons why it's so important to have a healthy relationship with yourself, where you give yourself permission to heal, to understand yourself, to grow, to have a little more faith and a little more trust. It's on another side about trusting that everything happens for a reason, with number 543, by the way, on the timer. That message just keeps coming through over and over and over again. Trust. You don't have to know everything. I mean, if you want to know the reasons, ask the universe to show you, to give you a reason, a good reason. But you also have to do your part and look for it too. And be patient in your search. But the two major reasons, the first one is you just deserve to be at peace, to be happy, to be comfortable, to not feel like you're dragging yourself through life. You don't have to feel that way. Even if you feel trapped in a certain situation, which I personally understand what that feels like, you don't have to wait to be happy or to be at peace. You can do that right now. Is there something that needs a little more acceptance? Not saying like, oh, well, it's okay this is happening. More like, it's okay that I don't have control right now. Again, 654 on the timer. Trust that you are in the position that you are in for a reason. You are who you are for a reason. You went through what you did for a reason. It feels like there's a lot of focus here on your potential and what you could learn from your pain, your suffering, your past, whatever this change, this loss, the sacrifice was, is, or will be. The second major reason is contributing to a fight greater than yourself. The fight between self-love and self-hate is the same fight between spreading love and spreading hate. The fight between telling yourself the truth and telling yourself lies is the same as spreading truth and spreading lies in the world. So you deserve peace, and it's important how you show up in the world, the kind of impact that you have on other people, especially children, you know. I personally would want to be the kind of person who shows children with actions that pain should be handled with care and understanding and curiosity, and not just suppressed, hidden, judged, you know. This judgment card has the number 20 on it. 2 plus 0 is 2. And the number 2 can be confirmation of a significant relationship or situation on your mind. And it can also be, in this reading, personally for me, I feel is a very strong confirmation for you to be very mindful about your decisions. Don't be careless. Don't overlook the messages in this reading. Don't overlook what your intuition is trying to tell you, where it's trying to guide you. Don't overlook your own strength and your own potential, your own light. It's in there, within you. You just have to find it. Search for it. And to see that kind of journey is worth it. So maybe it could be helpful for you to ask yourself, what could be my why, my reason to heal, other than the 2 major reasons that I believe are important. as of late, the number 2 has also been about creating more balance in your life, but that starts first with creating more balance within yourself. More fairness, more love, more light. I'm going to go ahead and move on to these deck of cards here. Feeling connected to the phrase "questo è molto difficile," which means this is very difficult in Italian, so I feel that your ancestors are acknowledging how challenging what you're going through really is. You know, like, you don't have to sit here and pretend that everything's okay. You can accept that things are not okay and not be destructive about it at the same time, you know. Okay, so this card, really, really love this, given what I just said, that Italian phrase. When the days come swinging, swing back. This is actually making me a little bit emotional because, you know, it is really hard to be strong, especially for a sustained period of time. This is number 122 on the timer, which is about change starting with you. Your impact, your potential does matter here. This card is very clearly encouraging you to fight back. You know, your inner demons, don't let them win. Don't let them have control. Yeah. Don't let them win. Let your light be in the driver's seat, not your darkness. Let me go ahead and draw out the last card here from these index cards. Perfect. We have, 1 second. Protect yourself from negativity. So it's okay to feel negative. Just don't weaponize those feelings against yourself. I think if you weaponize your own negativity, maybe more willing to weaponize the negativity of others. It's just important to really understand your potential, your impact, no matter who you are, no matter how many connections you do or don't have, no matter how loud your voice is. I believe we all have a part to play. A while ago, I was comparing what I feel to a puzzle, where each and every one of us are a puzzle piece to a bigger picture. And for us to see the full picture, to put all the pieces together, we all need to show up and play our part. I do think life is one big puzzle, at least in some sense. So number 122 again, about change starting with you. Do you really see your potential? What you're capable of? And it doesn't have to be, you know, it's about just recognizing your power without feeling like you have to be super, super powerful for it to be valuable and important. It's going to take a lot for all of us to get on the same page, to play our part. I mean, it's been thousands of years and we're still working on it, but it does help if you believe in reincarnation and being able to live more than one lifetime, or even if you didn't believe in lifetimes. For me personally, I would still see value in playing my part. Overall, this reading has encouraged you to have trust and faith. Let yourself explore and be curious about both yourself and this world, this reality, things beyond what we know. and what we see. Your intuition, your instincts will know far more than any textbook will ever tell you. It's been clear in this reading that you are carrying grief, or whether it's from the past, the present, or grief that you may carry in the future. It's important to see pain and suffering as an opportunity to learn, to become wiser, as well as stronger. Because what else could you focus on? I kind of feel connected to the phrase, idle hands are the devil's best friend. I know there's like a specific phrase, I just don't know exactly how it goes. But it could keep you busy trying to find answers. It's just important to not take your negativity, your pain, out on yourself and your future and those around you. For me personally, it really, really helps to trust in the bigger picture, the greater puzzle, The cards on the table are really trying to bring your attention to your judgment and protecting that. I am seeing number 444 in the timer, which is connected to ancestors and stability. How nice. It's almost like we started with talking about ancestors before. I think it was closer to the beginning, and now here we are. Wrapping up this reading, they've made their presence known again. I feel like your past loved ones really, really want you to believe in your strength, to see challenging days. I think you could see that as two different things. An opportunity to be more patient and understanding and loving and forgiving to yourself, and or an opportunity to challenge yourself. I'm not sure how controversial this would be to say, but I think pain and suffering could be interesting in terms of what wisdom it has to offer us. It's kind of what this reading feels like it's here for you to do, is just encourage you to find deeper meaning, to learn and grow from the pain, both practically, improving your own life in practical ways, and spiritually, improving your own belief system, your thoughts, your feelings, and making sure that they work for you rather than against you. I have personally learned on my own healing journey that most of the time healing is about either changing your perspective, realizing something, or just letting yourself be. If you're really feeling the stubbornness, the frustration, you don't have to figure out everything right now. Give yourself space and time to reflect and express, and when you're ready to change your mind, change your perspective, look for new ideas, I suppose go for it. I am feeling connected to the word pronta in Italian, which means ready. Since it has an A on the end, it's particularly for a woman who is ready, but it doesn't have to be. I guess just extra confirmation for a woman here who might need it. But I really feel that your ancestors are encouraging, whenever you're ready to change your perspective, realize something, or something like that, go for it.